Listen closely and test this with your own life. What if the proof you are waiting for is waiting for you to stop waiting? What if certainty, not chance, writes tomorrow? And what if the one quiet decision you make tonight could make the world move first? Keep listening. Before this ends, you will have a way to stand in the end so completely that reality must obey. You have been told to hope. I am asking you to know. There is a difference. Hope looks at circumstances and asks for permission. Knowing stands within and gives it. You do not wait for the mirror to smile. You smile and the mirror has no choice. That sounds too simple. Good. The deepest laws are simple and unmoved by fashion. The mind argues. Reality answers to state. Here is your first test. Close your eyes for a breath and choose one end that is clean and dignified. Not a dozen. One. See it for a moment as already done. Not loudly, calmly. If it were concluded, how would you breathe? If it were concluded, what quiet would settle in your shoulders? Keep that quiet for a count you do not measure. Do you feel the shift? That is the door. We will walk through it again and again until walking becomes your normal pace. You have been trained to chase. Chasing confesses distance. Embodiment cancels it. When you act as the person who has arrived, the road rearranges under your feet. Call this faith. Call it assumption. The name is not the engine. The engine is the state you hold long enough for it to harden into fact. Ask yourself now, what am I assuming about myself at this very moment? Do not decorate the answer. Hear it. If it is lack, you have found a lever. Move it. Imagine as one who knows, not as one who begs. If wealth is your end, let the weight of sufficiency rest in your palm until your hand forgets how to clench. Speak about money as a steward, not as a supplicant. You do not rehearse shortage. You practice clarity. If love is your end, stop auditioning. Sit inside the feeling of being chosen and steady and speak from the house that feeling builds. If health is your aim, stop treating your body like an adversary. Thank it for its messages and answer them with the composure of someone already whole. The outer will catch up. It always does for people who keep their inner appointment. You will be tempted to ask when. When is the question of a person who still thinks the world goes first. The world does not go first. It reports. A bill arrives, a door shuts, a rumor travels. These are echoes from yesterday's state. Do not stage a trial to cross-examine echoes, not and return to the end. Old momentum must run down the track it was given. You are laying a new track now. Stay on it with a calm pulse. Doubt will visit. Doubt is not the enemy, panic is. When doubt speaks, do not debate it. Debating is how you keep it as a guest. Instead, ask one simple question. From which state am I looking? If the answer is the old one, step out of it like a coat that no longer fits. You do not need to hate the coat. You simply stop wearing it. Put on the end and let the end instruct your next small act. Small acts are your highest proof. Pour water as the person who has arrived. Answer messages with the tone of a settled outcome. Walk to the door with the economy of someone for whom the matter is finished. These tiny fidelities are not theatrics. They are signals your nervous system understands. They tune your life the way a musician tunes a string until the room itself begins to vibrate in key. Your inner speech is your architect. Spend one ordinary hour listening to it as a careful scholar listens to a text. Hear the little jabs, the clever sarcasm that pretends to be wisdom while it corrodes your end. Replace it with a steady line that you can carry anywhere without showmanship. Say quietly, I move as one who has arrived, or my inner verdict is final and reality concurs, or the end is chosen. My steps are simple. Do not shout these lines, wear them. They are better as linen than as armor. Evenings and mornings are hinges, use them. At night, sit in the finished scene as if in a chair that remembers your shape. Let your breathing become the breathing of a person who no longer waits. In the morning, before the world speaks, return to the same end for one honest minute. Not more, not less. Consistency persuades the deep mind. The deep mind orders the day. Action will still be required, but it will be the kind of action that feels like a key sliding into a well-cut lock. You call because the finished scene would have you call. You decline because the finished scene needs no noise. You send the proposal because the finished scene expects to be seen. From the curb, your life will look ordinary. From the driver's seat, you will feel the steering loosen because you are no longer fighting the wheel. Guard against the counterfeit called daydreaming. Daydreaming is theater without decision. Embodiment is decision that quietly shapes the next minute. If your inner work makes you inert, you are pretending. Step back into the end and ask, if it were already true, what small thing would I do next with a calm pulse? Do that, nothing dramatic. The state proves itself by continuity, not spectacle. People will talk around you. They will rehearse, like the way some rehearse gossip. You do not need to correct them. You need only keep your own tongue from joining the choir. Silence is selection. If speech is required, answer with a sentence that does not betray your end. You are not performing for them. You are being faithful to yourself. Because you value what is tested by time, hear this. Across old texts and prayers and journals runs the same thread. What you accept as true becomes the world and you walk in. The builder holds the plan in the heart until timber and stone agree. Those who call this new are young in their reading. Those who practice it quietly become the kind of person people call lucky without being able to say why. Choose ends that enlarge you. Ends that make you exact rather than excitable. Ends that dignify others instead of turning them into props. The mirror is precise. If you choose an end that shrinks your soul, reality will hand you a smaller room. If you choose an end that stretches your stature, reality will raise the ceiling. This is not moralizing. It is mechanics. When you falter, and you will because you are human, return without ceremony. Shame is poor fuel. Flip the inner page and read your line again. I move as one who has arrived. Then move as one who has arrived. Forgetting for an hour is not ruin. Remembering for the next hour is mastery. You are not starting over. You are continuing a craft older than your moods. Keep modest records. Write down the state you kept, the small actions it produced, and the shifts that followed. Do this for a week, then read. You will stop trying to convince yourself because the ink will do it better than your arguments. When conviction deepens, your tone quiets. Quiet is power disguised as manners. If a delay appears, treat it like weather on a long walk. Adjust your coat and keep your direction. A gust does not rewrite your map. Doors that close often turn out to be hallways. Walk them without commentary. Many find the door they wanted was narrow and noisy, while the door they received was wide and dignified. This is why we release the staging and keep only the end. Before you sleep tonight, pick one ordinary scene that would naturally occur after your desire is fulfilled. A message received, a bill paid without a tremor, a handshake that lands like a period. Enter it with all 5 senses and rest there until the pillow takes you. In the morning, return to the same scene for a single minute. Do this loop for 7 nights. The loop is small on purpose. Small loops repeat. Repetition persuades. Persuasion becomes posture. Posture becomes fact. You may feel the urge to announce your practice. Resist. Secrecy is not superstition. It is stewardship. A seed does not benefit from explanation while it sprouts. When the result is standing, it will need no defense. Let evidence be eloquent. Now ask once more, what am I assuming about myself right now? Answer with fewer words than before. Carry that answer like a quiet seal. Walk forward. Watch how people, messages, and chances begin to behave as if they were briefed. They were. You briefed them by settling your state. You need a simple frame to hold the whole method. Keep this. Decide the end. Feel it to quietness. Return often. Act lightly from that state. Release the clock. Record the proofs. Protect inner speech. Choose noble ends. Repeat. These are tools, not slogans. They will feel plain in the hand and heavy in the result. When you realize without fanfare that you are living inside a scene you once rehearsed, do not call it magic. Call it the honest wage of a mind governed by decision. Give thanks without display. Then, as craftsmen do, choose your next end with the same calm. The point was never to hoard outcomes. The point was to become a person for whom good outcomes are native. You began with a question. What if the feeling of already having is the lever that moves the scene? You now have your proof path. Use it. Tonight, sit in the end and let your breath learn it. Tomorrow, keep one small fidelity before noon. When the mirror tries to show you yesterday, change the light and move on. The mirror will keep its promise. If you listen again to the first lines of this piece, you will notice they have already started coming true. You were told you would have a way to stand in the end, so reality must obey. Now you do. Use it well, quietly, and long enough for others to call it destiny. You will know it as discipline. Let us press further until this becomes second nature. You already know the stance. Now refine the craft. The difference between a novice and a master is not enthusiasm but constancy. Constancy is quiet. It leaves tracks you can verify. You will build those tracks today in small places where the old self used to speak first. Begin by marking 3 ordinary thresholds you cross daily. The first is waking. The second is the doorway before work. The third is the moment before sleep. At each threshold, pause for a single breath and re-enter the end. Not as theater, as sanity. Ask only if it were finished, how would I carry this next minute? And carry it that way. This is how you engrave the state into wood and habit until even your posture begins to testify. When anxiety taps your shoulder, do not launch into speeches. Speeches are how anxiety recruits you. Instead, test it with a simple check. Does this worry belong in the world where the end is already true? If it does not, set it down like a tool that does not fit the job. You do not curse a wrench for being the wrong size. You reach for the right one. Reach for the feeling that belongs to the finished scene and use that. Consider work. You once treated work like a battlefield where you had to win every inch by strain. Now you treat it like a field that already belongs to you, where you harvest in season. You write as someone whose proposal is expected. You speak in meetings as someone whose voice is part of the solution, rather than a plea for inclusion. You do not inflate. You do not shrink. You stand at your actual height and let accuracy carry the room. Surprisingly, accuracy is persuasive. Consider money. The old state made budgets out of fear and then broke them out of panic. The new state makes budgets out of clarity and then follows them out of respect. You spend deliberately, not to prove scarcity but to demonstrate stewardship. You invest in tools that multiply your competence. You stop counting pennies in a tone that teaches your nervous system to doubt. You count in a tone that teaches your nervous system to trust. The difference is audible, and results are obedient to tones. Consider love. The old state scanned for slights and rehearsed arguments in advance. The new state scans for what is worthy and edits words before they leave the mouth. Editing is not falseness. Editing is love in transit. You leave room for the other person to arrive at their best. You do not audition, you host. Hosting from fullness is magnetism. It withdraws the neediness that bends conversations into contests. Consider health. The old state narrated symptoms like a courtroom stenographer, recording every discomfort as a verdict. The new state treats signals as messages and answers them without drama. You walk a little more, not to beat the body into submission, but to agree with the image of a steady, strong frame. You breathe more slowly, not because slowness is fashionable, but because breath is the oldest vote you cast for life. Your body hears your inner government and obeys without a speech. If a setback arrives, do not promote it. People promote setbacks by making them headlines in a newspaper. You will print them as footnotes and keep the banner reserved for the end. When someone asks how you are, Answer truthfully without granting the setback a throne. Speak as a person whose victory is routine. Routine victory is not noise. It is order. You may be tempted to demand omens, do not. The world will send you enough signals without being subpoenaed. Instead, give the world a signal it can use. Keep appointments. Return calls. Pay what you owe on time. Draft the letter with clean grammar. Honesty, punctuality, and clear sentences are not quaint preferences. They are extensions of the state you claim. Disorder breaks the spell. Order keeps it. Train your inner sight with short, exact scenes rather than grand spectacles. Spectacle excites and then exhausts. Exactness quiets and then instructs. If your end is a role you desire, do not picture yourself on a stage with crowds screaming. Picture the ordinary desk where you sign the contract, the weight of the pen, the softness of the chair, the message you send a friend saying it is done. If your end is a home, do not picture a drone shot and a parade. Picture the sound of your key turning, the immediate scent when the door opens, the small drawer where you place the bills without a tremor. These details teach your deep mind where to go. Keep one sentence as your private seal when pressures rise. Choose it soberly. It might be this: I proceed as one for whom the matter is settled. Or this: my inner verdict stands and the world concurs. Or this: I remain in the end and act from it. Say it softly only when needed and only once. Repetition is powerful, but begging is not repetition. Speak like a magistrate issuing a legal line, then move. On days when faith feels thin, borrow from craft. Do the next right small thing that the finished scene would require. Send the email with a clear subject. File the document with a proper name. Clean your workspace to match the order of the end. These acts are not superstition, they are alignment. The person who lives in the result maintains the room where the result lives. Rooms have voices. Let yours speak of readiness. If comparison begins to sting, treat it as a compass pointing to an unlived end, not as a verdict against your worth. Bless the evidence of what is possible and return to your lane with a straighter back. Envy wastes posture. Blessing straightens it. A straight back breathes better and thinks more cleanly. Clean thought finds better doors. When you teach this to yourself tomorrow, use a small tally. Draw 3 empty boxes on paper in the morning. Box 1 is decide the end. Box 2 is act from the end once before noon. Box 3 is return to the end before sleep. If all 3 boxes carry a mark for 7 days, you will not need me to convince you. Your own hand will have done it. You may wonder how long this takes. That question belongs to the old state. The new state asks a different one. How quietly can I proceed today? Quiet is not slowness. Quiet is unargumentative speed. Quiet crosses rooms faster because it does not stop to consult every doubt. As results accumulate, practice gratitude in a way that guards your edges. Say thank you by doing the work that the result invites. Say thank you by declining carelessness. Say thank you by becoming a person who can be trusted with more. Gratitude as conduct is the strongest prayer because it gives heaven very little to correct. If a door that looked perfect closes, do not give a speech at the doorway. Step back 2 paces and let your eyes adjust. Often a larger door is standing a little to the left, unadvertised and unlocked. People miss it because complaint fogs the glass. Wipe the glass with one steady breath and look again. Remember that secrecy protects beginnings. Keep your practice close until evidence stands upright. Then you may share sparingly with those who ask in earnest. Offer them 1 exercise, not 10. Let them return with their own ink and their own proof. This preserves your energy and honors theirs. End this extension with a working loop you can begin tonight. Choose a single end. Enter a small, precise scene that proves it finished. Breathe as if it is ordinary. Sleep there. In the morning, hold the same scene for 1 honest minute. Carry the tone into 1 deliberate act before noon. Refuse to debate appearances. Record one proof at evening, even if the proof is only your steadiness. Repeat for 7 nights. On the 8th morning, you will find that your voice has changed. It will be quieter and more exact. People will hear the difference before they see the reason. Let them. You will know the reason. You chose it, you felt it, you returned to it, and you walked as if it were already so until it could do nothing but be so. Ask once more, what am I assuming about myself right now? Answer with fewer words than yesterday. Wear that answer the way a craftsman wears a trusted tool at the hip. Go on, do the next small faithful thing. The mirror is already clearing.